Broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olson.
Welcome to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm a very tired Joel Sturgis, right along with me.
Somnambulant Eric Olson.
Say that again.
Somnambulant.
Okay, now you're going to have to, I don't have a dictionary by me, Mr. Webster. What does that mean?
You said you were tired.
I am.
So I was saying tired in a more fanciful way.
Ah, gotcha. Well, you know,
somnambulant, as in some insomniac. It just means sleep.
Oh, gotcha. Well, are you an insomniac?
No,
you're not.
I'm not. My problem is I still really haven't, in that long weekend didn't help because I slipped back into my old schedule. But, I'm still on a summer schedule. It's a much later schedule.
Yes.
The band plays now and then. When the band plays, we don't get home till 3, 4 in the morning. And, so that screws everything up. But, no, basically I'm just on a later schedule, but I still got to get up every morning at 7:30, which I realize does not sound early to normal people, but I'm not normal.
You're a night owl.
I'm a night owl. So getting up at 7:30, man, it's really, really early. And so then I'm tired, and it's still hard to go get to sleep.
Well, you're going to make fun of me now because the average time when I'm in bed by 9 p.m.
Good for you.
I'm normally beat, though. I mean, I don't want to say this because I realize I'm not, but I'm getting old. And just lately, I feel like I'm old, man. You know what I mean? You ever feel that way? Where you're like, oh.
Please.
My crap just
yes, I do. But you don't think of it as old. You're entering new phases. We're always entering new phases.
Well, I don't like this phase because I remember when I was in my 20s, I could work 16, 18 hours, go to the bar, close it down, go to bed for about 2 or 3 hours, get up and go right back to work.
Yes, me as well. Although I wasn't happy without the sleep, but yes, I had much more stamina. I had 2 kids in my 20s.
Yeah, what's stamina, man? What is stamina?
Did not get that much sleep. Was DJing all through my 20s. I was DJing, so I was out late. I had to get up early because my wife worked. My ex-wife worked, and she had to get out of there, so I had to watch the kids. I had to get up. It was tough.
Well, were you ever?
I had it. I mean, I had the stamina back then.
Were you ever a DJ at a nudie club? Come on, be honest. Every DJ I've ever met has done their stint at the old topless bar.
Yeah, but not for long.
Okay.
Actually, you know what I did? All I did really was fill in. I filled in for some people, for some friends. It's very, very dispiriting.
It really is. I haven't been to a gentleman's club.
And I don't
mean
the women are ugly. I just mean the whole scene.
It really is. I haven't been to one in years, but the last one I was to, and I must have been 15 years ago, to be honest with you. I was walking on the floor, and I just can't still remember this so vividly. My feet sticking to the floor as I walked. Yes. I don't understand why in this establishment, only establishment in the world, is a nudie club or a gentleman's club or whatever you want to call it, whatever name you'd like to attach it there, always seems to be disgusting. Yeah, I mean, it's like I've never seen a high class one. Have you? Have you ever seen a high class one?
I have, but even that's disgusting. Let's face it.
Well, it still is.
I got it. All right, you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
All right, so
I like the truth. Come on.
This happened in the 90s. So this was not the 80s when I had the two little kids and was DJing out in California. This was 90s. I was back here in Ohio already.
Oh, they have nudie clubs in Ohio? They have topless clubs.
Oh, they're all over the place.
Really?
Sure.
They're like,
I mean, there's law. I forget what the law. The law in Ohio is you gotta you can't go nude, and I think you still have to have some sort of teeny tiny covering.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's a state or if it's local. I know if you cross the border down into Kentucky, oh my God.
Kentucky is a free-for-all, man.
Oh, no holds barred. I remember going to a bachelor party in my early 20s and winding up at a stripper's house, being very smelly at about 5 in the morning.
I've been to Kentucky. I like Kentucky, and people from Kentucky are great people.
Oh, I do too.
But I have a lot of friends from Kentucky. In fact, Steve Asher, one of the great friends from the show, is from Kentucky. And I want to give a big shout out to Steve because his kids, in fact, are sick right now in a pretty bad way. In fact, one of them is in the hospital. So I would like to go ahead and want everyone to give your thoughts and prayers to Mr. Steve Asher while he's going through this trying time. His family, by the way. But getting back to Kentucky, you know, everybody's heard the jokes, cousin loving, in Kentucky and stuff like that. You know, I gotta say, I liked Kentucky. I thought it was a very nice state, beautiful state.
It is. It's very lovely, and it's much more varied than people think. You know, there's every kind of person. You got real cities. You have Louisville. You have Lexington. You got big colleges. Then you have the mountains to the east. And you have horse country, you got bourbon country. There's all kinds of stuff
it's great down there. And evidently they have a thriving nudie bar scene down there.
Good God, yes. And we love them for it. So anyway, back to my story. In the 90s, so I was DJing, and it was in between wives, right? So I got divorced in 90, moved back here.
You didn't date Pee-Pee, did you? You didn't date Pee-Pee the stripper at all, did you?
Oh, I did. So
did you really?
That's really the essence of it. Yeah, I met this.
You dated a stripper?
I've dated more than one stripper.
Do tell, man. Do tell.
I drew like 3 in a row because they all worked the same place. So anyway, they came up to me. I wasn't going to the clubs or anything. I've never made a habit of going to strip clubs. It's so yuck, you know? I mean, it's just, I don't need to meet women. I can meet perfectly attractive women any old way I want. We're just walking down the street. I'll snap my fingers.
There you go. They just coming droves.
Come like pigeons.
They do. You just can't keep them away.
I fight them off. Get away from me.
Get out of here. Leave me alone.
I'm old.
Take your pasties and go home.
Get away from me. Yeah. Anyway, I'm somewhat kidding. Anyway, so no, really I did. So 3 in a row. So, but they came to me. I was DJing at a club, really big, cool club in North Canton, and they came in. And, you know, I became very friendly with one of them, started dating her. Sure. Eventually that went the way of the, went the way of the ice wagon. Okay. And then sort of happened on the other and then happened on the other. So it was kind of 3 in a row. I was in that mode. So I went into the club and I was in there and I got to know the DJ in there because, you know, I knew the girls. So, and if you know one, man, you know them all. Well, yeah. They hang out together, they have parties, they do all this stuff. So I knew a bunch of them by then. So I knew the DJ and eventually he said, hey, would you fill in? Because he knew I was a DJ, of course. Would you fill in for me? And I said, sure, why not? And the problem among it, besides it being just kind of yucky.
Well, yeah, it's yucky.
Is it super repetitive because you got to play the songs that the dancers that they want. So I mean, you're just playing their songs for them.
Sure, yeah, of course.
I mean, it's not like it's interesting or
you could have messed with
choice or there's any creativity to it. You're just throwing on one song after another and you're yelling out stupid things.
Now look to your left and here comes Bambi.
There she comes bounding in. Look at those things hopping up and down.
Look at those things just to go, folks.
Look at them go.
$10,000 worth of cosmetic surgery.
God almighty. So anyway, that's my story. So
wow.
Yeah,
well,
Eric, they
Eric,
were all college students too, and they were, they weren't just quote unquote strippers. But I kind of had my little run there back in the 90s in between wives, and then I met Dawn, and
the rest is history. Then everything went downhill. But anyhow,
Well,
I'm
my
joking.
acquaintance with strippers kind of went by the way.
Well, I would assume it would. If money, if there was ever a dresser and money involved, that wasn't a girlfriend, by the way. I just want to let you know that. That was more of a business deal. I'm just throwing that out there.
Sure.
Just saying. I'm kidding, of course.
Never would have doubted a moment of it.
No, I've never dated a stripper.
Really?
No, God, no.
Oh, everyone's dating.
No, not everyone's.
Maybe you just didn't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I did have that time that I call my 20s. That was pretty hazy.
Well, exactly.
Where I would go to the gentleman's club every now and again. When you're young and dumb, and full of ambition.
Whatever.
Yep.
Full of ambition.
Exactly, full of ambition. You'll do weird things once in a while with that ambition. And I might have dated a stripper or two, possibly. I'm not even sure what they were. They weren't.
I mean, you don't always know.
No, you don't always know.
It's not like they're necessarily going to tell you.
No, it's not like they wear a card or they don't business
Stripper.
cards. Yeah, I'm a stripper, by the way. Here's my card. Hey, call me up for great parties.
Lights on the forehead. Stripper, stripper, stripper. Watch me strip.
Oh yeah. I haven't been to one in a long time. The last time I was at one was geez, I was probably 29. And I remember watching, and I'm 42 now, so it's been a long time. I remember watching a lap dance in progress.
Ugh.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
All the grindiness. And
yes. Then of course.
You got to have the two layers minimum of clothing. So it's not like.
Not at the one I was at. Not at the one I was at. The one I was at was a little more trashy than most, and they didn't have really anything on.
Wow.
Pretty much full nude. And of course, you're starting to worry about hygiene issues at that point.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I woke up at 5 a.m. in some house in Kentucky with a smelly stripper.
That sounds like a beginning of a great country song.
Or the end.
I woke up in the morning
with a smelly stripper. She was nice, though. She gave me a ride because my friend, I got lost. My friend slept without me.
Well, how do you mean smelly? Like B.O. smelly or like
I
perfume?
don't even want to think about.
Because they always perfume up like you wouldn't believe.
No, it was something else.
No, okay. Well, we don't need to know that's something else then.
No, we don't.
All right, okay. Well, we're going to move on from strippers and strip clubs and DJing because I can understand where you'd be uncomfortable with that subject matter.
Well, I'm not uncomfortable with it.
Well,
I have fond memories to be
it sure sounds okay. Maybe I'm the one uncomfortable with that subject matter.
Maybe you are.
Because maybe I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just saying. Just saying.
My wife, she'll once a month she'll go, God, I can't believe you dated that stripper.
Once a month?
I can't believe you did
really?
that. It's just, she gets all bent out of shape. Because she was the first one, the main one. I told you there were 3, but the first one was the main one. That lasted not that long, but a few months. Anyway, she ended up being in Playboy.
Oh my gosh, you were with a centerfold?
Not centerfold.
Okay, but you were the Playboy girl?
Playboy girl.
Are you
not a centerfold?
Wait a minute. Yeah, exactly.
She was featured,
man.
And of course I showed.
No.
Oh yes, I showed my wife.
Oh, you didn't.
That was not.
That is a bad.
That was a foolish.
I wish I would have been there to stop you. No, man, don't do it.
I can't unsee this. Burned into my retina.
And did you stop and say, "Neither can I, baby"?
Well, that's true.
Wow.
Thing is, look, she looked like a stripper. I mean,
because that's her profession.
But by the time she was in Playboy, she'd had enhancement.
Oh, yeah.
So that wasn't real.
No.
That was enhancement. No. And she just looked very typical.
Yeah, and airbrushed.
Typical.
They airbrush them,
Typical, kind of higher end strip, topless dancer.
Yeah,
Slash.
Yeah.
Playboy. Big deal.
I guess the most embarrassing time, being that we're not quite done with
No, we're beating this horse.
Yeah, we're drawing flies. But I will tell you, we used to have amateur night at the one I used to go to.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my Lord. The girls that you see at the 7-Eleven are up there just to dance. You know what? You don't realize embarrassment until you see your third grade teacher up there.
Oh, Lord.
Wow, looks like she held up over the years. No.
The one final little tidbit, the last time, I think, that I remember anyway, going to a strip club was a bachelor party night. We went to about 5 different clubs. That's at least, I don't know, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
At least. And so we went from one club to another. We did a club crawl, right? Mm-hmm. And every club was skankier than the one before.
You know, I'm starting to notice a theme with you. Bear in mind, I respect you a great deal. But let's go back into the Wayback Machine here for a second.
All right.
Number 1, you were in a softcore porn movie one time.
Well, I wasn't in it.
No, but you did have a role. You worked in that industry for a short time. And I respect you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad.
I was a low-level functionary.
And you dated strippers.
Yes.
My God, you've had a wonderful life.
Well, it was interesting enough.
Think about that. That.
I mean, that movie, it was a softcore porn. Basically, it was just TNA. There was no action.
Yeah.
And it was for Japan.
Oh,
and it was shot at this amazing mansion up in the hills above Malibu. And we had to rent, like a Lamborghini and a Ferrari.
Wow, man!
And I got to drive them from the rental
really?
place, winding up the hills of Malibu. It was so fun. Mm-hmm. And then these women who were in it, there were it was one guy, and then a series of women. So it was encounters with various.
How would
women.
you like to be that one guy?
I did not look down on that gentleman, and I will not mention his name because I know he did everything he could to remove his name from the credits. He became a mid-level TV star.
I have had those moments where I wish I could remove my name from the credits of shows.
He became a mid-level TV star.
Really?
You will never find that movie listed on any of his credits. Anyway, these women. About half of them ended up being, pretty well known, and they were
really.
Wow. I mean, you'd see them. They were actresses, and you'd see them in various things, and some of them rose up the ladder somewhat. I remember I saw one was in this really big hot tub scene from doing the same thing she had done in the movie I worked on. But it was I think it was, you know what it was? It was Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Okay, that was a great movie.
So think of the hot tub scene.
Yep.
He's at school.
Yep. And that's her, huh?
There's a bunch of women in there, but that was one of them. She had a few lines. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. I made pretty good money.
Here's the deal, though. How do you take these people seriously when they're standing there next to you nude?
You know what I mean? You have to have this stony face. You just pretend. You got to be all nonchalant. This is Hollywood, man. You can't be gawking with your tongue out dripping.
What I'm saying is, there's these guys obviously that work in the adult film industry, and I've heard that guys are treated.
Nothing phases them.
No, I've heard that guys are treated horribly in the adult industry, but women are treated great, but the guys not so much. I could never, even if I did have that opportunity, I don't know if I could do it. To be honest with you, I don't know.
You're in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, don't you know?
I don't know how much porn is shot up there.
Well, it all depends on how cold it is. Like right now, it's a balmy 56 degrees.
Is it? It's going to get pretty chilly here tonight.
It's been cold, man. It's been
tonight
really cold.
Is the first cool night we've had.
You know what? I saw the geese actually from here migrating south. And I was watching them migrate, and an old-timer says, yep, gonna be a bad one this year. And I'm
I hope not.
I said, really? How do you know? He says, yep, back in 78 was the last time I saw it that bad. Oh, geez, tell me more. Of course, whatever, old man. But then I looked in the Farmer's Almanac, and it is actually predicting a horrible, 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 horrible winter for the entire Midwest.
Arg.
The entire Midwest is going to
We're probably due, but I hope not.
Because we had a nice one last year, but hey, it is what it is.
Two in a row.
Yeah, can't complain too loud. But you know what? Let's get out of away from weather and strippers.
All right.
I was over there at the Week in the Weird, and I was just kind of perusing headlines. Exclusive, this special FX team hoaxes paranormal activity at haunted locations and businesses booming. Have you heard about this story yet?
No, tell me.
Paranormal investigators have a rough... I'm going to read this right from the article. Paranormal investigators have a rough gig. Not only is it pretty tough to capture genuine anomalies on film, but once you do, you have to hope they'll stand up to scrutiny to your peers. Not to mention... The fact that you have to have unwavering nerves, you have to be really strong, you have to be really brave. It goes through all this. Well, anyhow, evidently, Mike Bisch, Bisch, runs Kentucky. I know. I don't want to.
I have no idea.
I don't want to step. I don't want to step on that, man. I'm so bad. Afraid I'm gonna go the other way. Exactly. Runs Kentucky Special FX, a company that specializes in building movie props, replicas, haunted house attractions, and realistic animatronics. If I can read, gosh darn it, to name a few things. According to him, custom orders account for nearly 70% of the company's revenue to fool ghost hunters.
Wow.
Yes, so this company is planting fake evidence for people to capture, and they are taking it and running with it and claiming that this is paranormal when all along it's them messing with them.
So do we know when? I mean, are they telling people after the fact? At least?
It goes on to say that the revenue is topping $850,000.
But dang.
Yeah, it's safe to say that when it comes to scaring the pants off people, we're number one in Kentucky, he says. He knows his stuff, but when he really wants to scare people, he can make a convincing full-body apparition.
Wow.
By rigging... here, let me get rid of that phone call. Sorry about that, folks. By rigging it to be holographic images that will fool even the most seasoned paranormal investigator to believe that they have a genuine haunting. He also talks about planting speakers for this and that, and really what he's doing is making fun of the paranormal community.
It would sound like
it. Yeah. I mean, so basically that, in a nutshell, that's what's going on. You can go to the Weekend in Weird and read it for yourself. It's a very long article. It's many pages long. But basically what they're doing is they're planting these, and some very well-known locations have been tainted.
Oh, my goodness. Do we know those places?
He goes on to say that some of the biggest haunts in Kentucky have been his customers in the past.
Hint.
To create fake evidence so paranormal investigators would go in there and get their money's worth.
Wow.
So, I mean,
that is, boy, who knows where that'll lead.
Yeah. Let's see. And then it goes on to say, even Chip Coffey, famed medium, known for his appearances on shows like A&E Paranormal State, weighed in on the subject. Chip says, if there is a reliable, substantive, irrevocable the proof that such activity is occurring, then it should be made public. Coffey wrote, no foolery, no trickery. I find this deplorable and horrible that any company would prey upon not only the psyche but emotions of individuals in the paranormal.
Goodness.
Wow, man. So it looks like other big shows have fallen prey, such as Taps. They have actually fallen prey to this, and they released evidence. The well-known Ashmore Estate property, featured on Travel Channel, also
it's been all over the place.
Had fake animatronics installed.
Oh my goodness.
So really, I think what's happening is, of course, they want their venue to bring tourism.
Now, we're not talking about when some of these places that are reported to be haunted, they also then have haunted attractions.
Well, yeah, I mean,
are we talking about the haunted attraction?
No, they're not.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, they're planting allegedly. Now, I'm just reading what this has to say in this article. They are not disclosing that to any paranormal investigator that they are using these things. And so it's not like, hey, you're going to the funhouse. No, they're trying to pass it off as legitimate.
Right.
A legitimate activity.
Because it sounded like they also provide props and items and, trickery and wizardry for haunted attractions.
They do, but
and I'm guessing that's where the great majority of their
income
is.
Well, I sure hoping so, but he does go on to name names.
All right.
What is going on, and of course, where he is placed items. Things like that. And in fact, he shows a ghostly apparition that was claimed by a paranormal investigator to be legitimate. There's a YouTube clip. It's his work. And the investigator put it out there as a real deal.
That is blowing the lid off it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can go over a Weekend of Weird and you can read that for yourself. But my Lord.
That could be a big scandal, my friend.
Well, not for him because he's laughing all the way to the bank and, he's not a believer in the paranormal. So, got ya. Kind of mentality is the way he's kind of coming off.
We haven't mentioned on in the 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah, big show.
10 o'clock Eastern hour. We're talking about the notorious dark Hinsdale House, which was recently featured on Paranormal Lockdown. And we have Dan Klaes and Tim Shaw. I'd really like to know what they think about this.
Yeah, very interesting. I came across that article. Week in the Weird is actually a really good place. It's we've had these folks on, of course, as guests, and they put out some good stuff. And usually, what they're printing, and 99.99999% of the time, you take that to the bank. They are a legitimate news source for the paranormal news.
Yeah,
plugging them pretty hard because they've been good to us. But
sure,
that is just
they do a good job.
They do it, and it's kind of a scary thought that you could be going into a location. If you pay, especially it's these locations, evidently according to the article, that you pay to play kind of places,
right?
They want to make sure you're gonna get your bang for your buck, and you go home happy, and they get more people come in.
That is not going to lend legitimacy to paranormal investigations.
No, it's not, and it will be very interesting to see as he really. I guess evidently he's going to leak different locations in the months to come that he has tainted, and get it out there.
Sounds like blackmail to me.
It kind of sounds like a Snowden job, or WikiLeaks. I mean, we're going to leak these, and that way, we can go ha. Speaking of strange, Hillary Clinton is not doing well, evidently, physically right now. She has pneumonia, and I hope that she does get better. But that being said, there's some weird things going on in this country, my friend, right now, and it's quite honestly, it's a little bit scary.
She was back on the campaign trail today. She was off 3 full days. She said she felt much better today.
Yeah, well, hopefully, now, I've heard the talking heads on the radio say that she has Parkinson's disease.
I've heard that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do not know. I'm not a doctor, nor do I know anyone with Parkinson's. But how would a disease disqualify her from being president like that if it's not affecting her mind? Because we've already had a couple disabled presidents.
That's
in the Oval Office. So, and of course, I kind of find if she does have a disease, picking on her because of alleged disease, I kind of find that tasteless, to be honest with you.
It's awful. Yes. No, she does not have, I guarantee you. Parkinson's is what Muhammad Ali had.
Yes, exactly.
It is not subtle,
No.
And unless she would have the very early onset, which I think it's something that typically starts much earlier than her age. I mean, she's almost 70. No, I don't believe it. So.
I don't either. But I did hear a lot of people talking about today with me, at me. What do you think? What I do think is let's see what the truth is.
Yeah. She had pneumonia. She blew it again. She was not forthcoming.
Yep.
I don't know what the deal is.
She can't. One thing about Hillary, and I'm not for or against. I'm very apolitical because I don't like any of them. To be honest with you, she needs to start telling the truth.
Well, it's not even just, is it truth or false? She needs to be much more forthcoming. She cannot always, and it's not just her, it's her campaign, her staff, her campaign. She can't always give the impression that any bit of information, especially about her, anything personal, anything, even remotely potentially damaging in any way, it can't feel like you're pulling teeth to get the information.
Well, exactly. And
she's got to learn that you're much better off being overly forthcoming.
Because it's going to come out anyway in today's day and age.
And your attitude is what counts as much as anything else, the way you appear. And if it looks like you're hiding things, if you are furtive, if you are defensive, which she is both those things.
Yeah, lately,
it's gonna kill you.
It is. And I've noticed a big shift in people. Well, when she came out and called all of Donald Trump's, or 50% of Donald Trump's supporters, deplorable human beings.
Yes.
That's alienating a lot of people. That
was not necessarily a genius move.
No.
But even if she was going to do that, I mean, she's still... What's her problem? Her problem is exactly this. The perception, just what we're talking about. The perception that she is not forthcoming.
No.
And you can take it, if you really hate her, you're really against her. If you're Donald Trump, then, you call her a liar. Otherwise, even if you like her, even if you're completely 100% for her, you still have to admit that she is not fully forthcoming.
No, and she just needs to work on that. Be honest with her supporters. And I watched it. She's imploding in front of our very eyes. And I was just hoping that maybe she would right the ship here. And I mean,
this election was absolutely handed to her.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump? I mean, I'm not even going to get into policies and all this and all that. We're not talking about that. We're just saying, here's a guy whose own party, for the most part, hates him.
Exactly. No, 100%. I'm right with you.
They're not supporting him.
No,
they're not getting out there and beating the bushes for him.
But the American
not organizing for him. They're not giving him money.
No.
They don't like him. They want him to go away. And yet, he still could possibly win.
Yeah, because her missteps, my friend. We got to run to break. We're way late for break. We'll be right back right after this.
See if you can catch the drift on this one.
Combust from too much lust. Can you implode, overload? I'm off the chart when you're in my heart. Can you self-combust from too much lust?
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
I got a rather serious problem over here.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cranky mother-in-law asleep on the couch in the man cave.
Dear God.
It gets worse.
That's impossible.
She's passed out on the remote.
I stand corrected.
What do I do?
Okay, I want you to grab a Torrin Big Red hydraulic bottle jack.
Okay.
Now you wedge that bad boy in under your mother-in-law and crank her up skyward.
It's working. And got the remote.
Great. Now grab that Torrin Big Red 2-ton folding shop crane and put that woman on wheels.
And away we go.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Do you have a question for our guest tonight? Don't feel like calling the show? Not a problem. Email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Again, that's afterhoursam@gmail.com. Welcome back to this edition of After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, and right along with me, Joel Sturgis, rather, and right along with me,
Eric Olson.
Hey, man, I was just kind of absorbing what you were saying before we get to the haunted headlines, what you were saying during the break, and I 100% agree with you that not to continue this, but just to continue for another second. Yes, Hillary Clinton absolutely needs to be brutally honest with the American people because we do not tolerate that as a people, and we never have. And that will be something that'll destroy her.
It is a character defect. I agree. And B, it's just plain stupid. You're going to get caught. You must realize this. There's no hiding anything anymore from now on. She's got to come forward and say, all right, that's it. I am drawing a line. Yeah. From now on. I am painfully honest and forthcoming. Not just honest, but forthcoming. There's a difference. There's one thing to dissemble, which is to not be fully honest, to not be forthcoming. It's another to lie. I'm not so sure, I don't agree that all the time she's been accused of being a liar, that is necessarily true. But I certainly agree that she is not always, and many, way more often than she should be, not forthcoming. She should be throwing all that information out there.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with
Alrighty
you.
Then.
All right, let's get to the haunted headlines now.
Oh, right.
Mr.
Well,
Eric Olson.
we cover, broadly speaking, the paranormal world, but man, we love space because it's so cool and weird and spooky.
Yes, space, the final frontier.
All right, so brand new for the first time, it was just released today. 1 billion stars mapped in 3D.
Wow.
Really extraordinarily accurately from the European satellite.
Cool.
And it's for the very first time in 3D, one composite image of the entire Milky Way.
Wow. Is that the Smithsonian Magazine, by the way?
Yeah, I think it is.
We love the Smithsonian Magazine.
I do.
Yes.
I love it.
That is cool. I mean, think of the information we can get now, just what's all mapped out and everything else.
They're saying it's just going to be a bonanza. They're going to figure out all kinds of stuff, the relationships between them and these distances. And it's going to be a bonanza of astronomical info. All right. Do you know, without looking, what the greatest concentration of witch trials are, where and when in history?
Now, I want to say, of course, it was here, but that would not be correct. I want to say it has to be somewhere in Europe or somewhere in that. Okay, go ahead. Let me know. I'm not looking now.
You are correct.
I'm going to give an answer. I'm not looking.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
My monitor is currently off because I like giving. I would say, going back in the old memory banks from school, Spain.
Oh, very good.
Really?
Excellent. Yes. From the period of 1609 to 1614, think about this. 7,000 people in 5 years.
Wow.
Were accused of witchcraft in Basque-speaking Spain. So the Basque region of Spain. So it's not even all of Spain. It was one region of Spain.
Just one small region. I remember touching on that world history one time years ago when I was in high school. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my Lord, why were people so hysterical about witches? We all know they're not real. Come on. There's no black cats, there's no brooms, because of course we're speaking from today, modern day today. I mean, where we know better. Back then, they were absolutely terrified of witches. And in fact, a friend of mine I want to say he was working for the Peace Corps. And he went to this itty-bitty little village in Eastern Europe, way up in the mountains somewhere. And they don't have TV. They've never seen a TV. They've never seen a movie. They've never heard a radio. But yet they're staking down their dead because they're worried they're going to become vampires.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And he says, wow, they had no outside influence, from modern entertainment to give them any notion of vampires. Because, all of them were extremely poor. They had nothing Western made it to them, and no stories, no movies, no nothing. But yet, vampires were what they feared.
Yeah, well, that goes back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, so it makes you think, was there something to the vampire lore?
Well,
probably
not. It's probably explainable by all the cliches that about, that they didn't understand decomposition, they didn't understand rigor mortis fully, they didn't know what was going on. They didn't, if they dug up a body and they saw that the hair had grown and the nails had grown, they didn't know that was a natural process.
True, very, very true. And even today, evidently,
even
there's parts of this world today that modern man has yet to go to.
It's getting smaller and smaller and fewer. But yes, there are still little enclaves. I think there's still areas in New Guinea. I think there's still, even now, in the Amazon, I think there are still, I don't know if they're literally untouched, but they're, largely untouched.
Yep.
They are still living in their hereditary manner.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's getting fewer and fewer places in the world.
It is. Okay, what's next?
Moving along. And by the way, we are getting these. These are cool guy tweets from the America's Most Haunted Twitter feed, which is at AM Haunted. Follow us, retweet, favorite, join the team.
Join us.
It's all kind of fun.
Be one with us.
All right. Yet another case of, I thought that Charlie challenge had gone away.
Oh, no. Yes. I remember the Charlie challenge. Become possessed. Be like us.
I guess it's back, or maybe it never went away. But down in Peru, there's a bunch of teenage girls who did the Charlie challenge, and whether they really were possessed or if they just became hysterical, I don't know. But they went through a whole bunch of screaming, squealing teens went through a 5-hour exorcism.
Wow. Man.
After doing the Charlie challenge. And if you click through to the story, you can see a video, and it is not a pretty picture.
Yeah, I thought I haven't met anyone yet that has actually done the Charlie challenge or Charlie challenge, whatever it's called. I've yet to meet someone that actually did it, but crazy stuff, man. There's some crazy crap.
It's just another. It's a derivation
Bloody Mary,
of or just of the Ouija board.
Yeah.
It's just summoning. It's a summoning.
Yeah, well, don't summon unless.
And we know you're not supposed to summon.
Don't be summoning, man. You don't want to summon yourself.
But you know what might happen if you summon? Something will come.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that is true, and that's the worst part is when you can't.
Way the worst part.
Yeah, you can't control what you summon, and it's game over for you.
Open that portal up.
Yeah, don't do that, man. I have
How many times have we ever had anyone on this show ever who has said, "Yes, that's a good idea"?
To summon? No. I've yet to hear.
No one ever.
Hey, you know what I'm doing in my weekend this weekend? What are you doing? I'm summoning. I've never heard anyone said no one ever.
Bad idea.
Yeah. I only talked to one guy in my whole radio career that said, yeah, Ouija boards are pretty darn cool with me. And that'd be Robert Murch.
Well, isn't he the Ouija board guy?
Yes, he is the guy, but he was definitely pro Ouija board.
Was he really?
Oh yeah, saying, they're fun, they're harmless, have fun with them, kids. Go ahead. I mean, I like Robert, don't get me wrong, and he is one of the authorities.
He's the historian.
Yes,
he is the Ouija board historian.
But there is no really, like he said, there's really no proof. no hard proof that Ouija boards mess with people.
As we've said over and over and over and over and over, it's not the Ouija board itself.
The intent.
It's just a tool.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the intent.
Yep, exactly. But that being said, kids,
along.
don't
you know
summon.
what tomorrow night is?
Tomorrow night is going to be probably... Oh, I'll cheat now. Okay, reach out and touch the harvest moon tomorrow night.
Look at that big old round orange orb.
Fiery orange orb moon. I like that. I love a good harvest moon.
Oh,
and, you just, Halloween is really right around the corner, and I cannot wait.
It is hard to believe how quickly it's coming.
I know.
Yeah, you look at the calendar and it's like March. You look at the calendar again, it's July.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it's the 1st of September, and people are talking about Halloween, and the haunted attractions are going to be opening in a week or two. It's amazing.
I've actually seen people are decorating already for Halloween.
Wow.
I mean, that's pushing.
That's bold.
That is bold. I have. I mean, my wife, of course, she went and got some Halloween-themed bags for garden clippings, and they're out there already. But that's not so bad because that's all she could find, and they were cheap. She's like, I don't care. They're cheap. I'm going to put them in there. I don't care. I'll fill them. Fill them.
In our house, we have a foyer.
A foyer? Wow, you're rich.
You come in the front door, and then you go up the stairs. You go right up the stairs to upstairs, or you go left or right and to the first floor of the house. So in that area, that stairway, it's a big open, the walls then are 2 stories high, right?
Mm-hmm,
so we have an art gallery.
You have an art gallery, too? Where the hell you live? In the Ritz?
Just our own, collection of art, and we're almost everyone in the family is an artist.
Is your stripper girlfriend? Is your stripper girlfriend photos on there?
I don't think she's got anything up there, but I have other girlfriend art, but we won't mention that. Anyway, so we have this. The walls are covered in various.
Sure.
And me being me, some of it's kind of Halloweeny, so that's up year round.
Yeah, well, that's good. I think that. Halloween doesn't get enough play. You know what I mean? It's a fun time of year for everybody, and I keep some things up all year round. Like movie posters that are Halloween themed, up all year round, that kind of stuff. But I think that Halloween is actually taking a shift now to be more adult oriented.
Oh, it is,
and that's kind of nice because I guess, before you'd take the little kids trick-or-treating, you get done, yay, that was fun, let me test your candy. I mean, steal your candy, really, is what I'm saying when I say test it. And you're done for the night. Now there's actually more activities, which is nice, because quite honestly, it should be an adult holiday anyway.
Well, you think of the themes, absolutely.
That's right.
There's a lot of the historians, of culture, and certainly especially of holidays and Halloween in particular, they decry the fact that America turned it into this children's, happy-go-lucky candy-gathering playtime. They say Halloween should be scary and dark and potentially cruel and mean and evil.
That's right. My wife doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to try to make her dress up as Elvira this year.
Ooh.
I'm going to try. It fails every year, but, I'm going to try this year.
Why not?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
A dark dress and a push-up.
That's right. That's all you really need. That's all you need. Anyhow, moving along.
Great story. Very interesting on Cambodia in particular, but also then the rise of dark tourism in general. So do you know what dark tourism is?
Yeah, where they go like the killing fields and stuff like that.
Yes, awful, terrible
Would you want to go there?
I mean,
hang around the kill. That'd be like going to where they gassed the Jewish people in Germany.
I do not want to do that for fun.
No.
I mean, it may be important to do that as a witness, as a citizen of the world.
I get that, but I would not go there on a holiday being like, hey, guess where we're going?
Vacation.
Hey, kids, guess where we're going this year? Where, Dad? The killing fields.
Yeah. So, but that's a corollary of haunted tourism, which is, I mean, in some ways it's the same, but it's there's a larger time remove, which I think it makes it more acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like recently we had the 15th anniversary 9/11, and I hate to think that someday that's gonna be a tourist trap for that kind of tourism.
You're right. I mean, it can't. It shouldn't ever be something taken like.
No, like, hey, let's go find out where 3,000 people died. Hey,
that is not a fun thing.
No. And so, like, I was touring. I stopped there because I felt I should. I stopped at the Oklahoma City bombing site. And, oh, my gosh, I was taken aback.
Yeah,
I went there as a citizen of the United States to see this carnage, because this is probably about 8 years ago I went there. And the thing that I was not prepared for was all the children that died there.
It was tons of children. Daycare.
Oh, my gosh.
I think there's daycare in the building.
And then, meanwhile, while I'm there's people laughing and giggling and sitting in because for every child that died, they had a desk set up. You know what I mean? And they were sitting in the desks and...
Some people don't get it.
Where's the respect, folks? You know what I mean?
Some people don't get it.
No. It was horrible. So I will not partake in being a dark tourism person.
I agree. I'm with you on that. I mean, again, if you're in the right frame of mind, if you're doing it for the right reason, if you are bearing witness, if you are taking it seriously, that's fine. That is something completely different. But if it's a jolly holiday and you're laughing and jumping up and down,
yucking up,
and you say, well, where should I go? Cambodian killing fields or the beach at Key West?
Well, one of them,
to Key West.
Yeah, one of them had a T-shirt on that said, "Hey, I went to Oklahoma City bombing site. What a blast!"
Oh my god!
And it's like, oh my god,
that's horrifying. All right, so did you watch American Horror Story last night?
I did not. I was working late. So I was getting...
Pretty great. Pretty
was
good.
it? I will be catching it, though, on the old Hulu.
It was very good. And you know what was so different this year, as I'm sure you know, everyone knows, they didn't tell anything in advance. It was complete nothing. No, there were promos, but they were all very subjective. They were all pointing in the wrong direction. They said of the 20-some... preview promos, only one had any real bearing on things. So anyway, we were all in the dark. Literally, we were in the dark. You didn't know the name of it, the subtitle, you didn't know the theme, you didn't even know who was going to be in it. Although you assumed it would be the regular cast, which it is. But although Cuba Gooding Jr.'s in it,
I was going to say, who's the big star this year?
He would be the one from the outside who has never done it before.
Okay.
It looks like Sarah Paulson will be the big star this year.
Yeah.
I know Lady Gaga's going to be in it, but she's not the star this year.
Yeah, not like last year.
Yeah, not like last year.
Yeah, interesting.
There may not be that leading Jessica Lange / Lady Gaga role this year.
I sure hope there is, though, somewhere. I actually liked last season. I thought it was really well put together. I liked it a lot.
Hotel?
Yeah.
I liked it, but I think I'm going to like this one a lot better. This one's actually quite scary.
Well, good. We need scary. I mean, it should be
bloody,
scary.
but scary.
Yeah, psychologically scary.
Last year was super bloody, but it wasn't that frightening.
No.
This year is... That episode, that was pretty scary. It was good. And you know what's really clever about it? This is the big reveal here. If you haven't watched it, I don't know, close your ears or something. But it's the story within the story. So the setup is, it's like a My Ghost story where you have the people who went through it, who lived it.
Gotcha.
They're there.
Gotcha.
They're telling the story, but then it's interspersed with reenactment.
Huh.
So what's funny is the reenactment, quote unquote, takes up 85% of the time. So the reenactors are really the players, and the talking heads, who are the quote unquote real people, are barely on. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's a good show though. I mean, it's just
excellent episode.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Roanoke it's called My Roanoke Nightmare. At least that's what that first episode was. We don't even know if that's going to be the ongoing theme or if that was just the first episode.
Huh. Interesting. Now, I do know that The Walking Dead is coming back next month, too, by the way.
It's
so
coming.
That's been the big clatter on the internet, because now we're actually getting closer to find out who's dead.
Start to sniff
and
it.
I had actually forgotten all about that episode about who's dead, because I quite honestly stopped caring. for a little
It's
while.
a long break.
It is a long break. It's like,
why
wow.
sit there and worry about it? Hey, have you been watching Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah, I've been catching it here and there. Doing my best. You got to remember, I got kids at home, little kids.
It's much, 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 much better.
Yeah.
Since the break.
Good.
So I think there have been 3 episodes since they came back.
Well, they don't get the play that The Walking Dead does.
Really good.
Have you noticed
really
that? They don't get the play that The Walking Dead does. No one ever gets, oh my God, the Fear the Walking Dead's on. You don't get that same...
Not yet, anyway.
That same clamoring to go watch it yet. I sure hope they get there.
The intensity is not there yet.
No, not yet, but I sure hope it is soon.
It may be. Like I said, these first 3 episodes since the break, so I guess it's episodes probably 9, 10, 11, have really been good. They've stepped it up. It's much better. The first one back was the best. That was all about Nick, the junkie kid,
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, and it was his episode, and it was great. Because he's a very compelling character.
Yeah, I like him as an actor a lot. I like the
great
character really, selection for that role. I mean, he does a real good job. I did catch, though, last night, talk about television and movies, Captain America Civil War last night. Oh. I did finally watch that. I watched, it was released Wednesday. It was, one thing that dawned on me watching this movie is you've seen one Marvel movie, you've seen them all.
They do tend to bleed together.
Yeah, I mean, the action's the same. Everything's the same. I mean, really, I was just turned to my wife and said, it's the same as every other Marvel movie ever.
Yeah, that's a problem. That first Avengers movie really was good. And it was fun.
It was fun, and it was
evolving. The second one, oh my Lord, it was bad.
Now it's, it wasn't a bad movie, don't get me wrong, but it's very repetitive. Because how many times can you have the same actors or the same powers doing this and doing that? I found
same battles.
Yes. I found it a bit kind of boring, to be honest with you. To be completely honest, I found it boring. But then again, a lot of people love the Captain America stuff. I get it. That's fine. Just not really my cup of tea.
I understand. I go back and forth on superheroes. Sometimes I'm in a superhero mood and I really enjoy it and it's fun.
See, I like Deadpool. I thought that was really good. I liked it for what it was.
Very different.
It was refreshing. Definitely adult. If you haven't seen the Deadpool yet, it's not for the kiddies. It's for the adults.
It was subversive.
It really was pretty bad, wasn't it? It
was funny,
and
wow, God, did he really just say that?
Yeah. Which I was thinking, wow, I liked when I was done with Captain America, I was like, give me another Deadpool movie. At least that was interesting.
Yeah. It was fun. It was good. I like it a lot. And of course, the teenagers love it because it's so transgressive.
Yeah, because it's so naughty. He said a naughty word.
Really quick, because we only got about a minute or two. Annabelle 2.
I heard about that.
First promo, and we have the release dates coming out in May of next year.
Cool. Did you like the original?
It was pretty good.
It was all right.
It was all right. It wasn't great.
Now, The Conjuring's coming out on DVD soon, Conjuring 2.
Yes.
That's hitting when? Next Tuesday? I think next Tuesday.
Very soon. Maybe it is already out.
It might already be. I'm not even sure anymore. My days are running together.
I think it came out last week.
Well, anyhow, the thing of it is, and man, that was a quick turnaround to DVD, let me tell you.
Yeah, they got it out.
Yeah, they did. But Annabelle, it was an all right movie, don't get me wrong, but it was no Conjuring. So I'm hoping that Annabelle 2 will be a little more on the scary side.
They'll probably have a little bigger budget, and they'll put more into it, I'm guessing.
Maybe it
was okay. It was scary enough.
It always seems to be a placeholder between the next Conjuring film.
Probably.
It's something just to throw out there. Hey, let's throw this at them. That way they don't lose interest.
All right, last one before the break, and we get to our guests. It's going to be a great spooky time talking about the Hinsdale House. Check out this picture of these cars driving through literally rivers of blood.
I'm looking at that.
After animal sacrifice in Bangladesh.
Are you kidding me? Where's PETA?
Look at that.
Where's PETA when you need them?
Wow, they are not in Bangladesh.
No, evidently not. Wow. I thought that was just like red mud or something.
No, that's a lot of damn blood.
That's a whole lot of blood.
Wow. Man. Oh, and I want to refer you very quickly to our site, if you're not on it, America's-Most-Haunted. And we have a new original story by the Eric Von Daniken.
Cool.
Individual scientists and politicians are acknowledging UFOs, but the collective...
There's always a but.
the scientific community and governments are still in full denial.
Oh, of course they are. We had him on the show recently, of course, Eric.
We did.
It was a great conversation. Very, very good stuff. Very compelling. It is still
Very
available for download, of course. Go grab the show, listen to it. You're going to really enjoy Eric's take on everything. We got to run to the Fox News. We come back right after this. We're going to get into the meat of the matter about the Hinsdale House. Don't go anywhere.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. The presidential race is a dead heat, according to the latest Fox News poll. Fox's Gernal Scott has a live report.
Kathleen, the gap between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in the just-released Fox News poll is 1 point among likely voters, but who has the advantage depends on who's in the mix. Head-to-head, Trump leads Clinton 46 to 45%, but in a four-way race, it's Clinton over Trump 41 to 40%. The poll gauged how voters feel about the world. 57% say it's going to hell in a handbasket. 7 in 10 voters say they aren't pleased with government here at home. On specific issues, Trump is trusted more on the economy and government corruption. Clinton gets a clear nod in matters of immigration and race. Kathleen.
And Gernal, Hillary Clinton isn't surprised by the latest poll numbers.
I've always said that this was going to be a tight race. I've said it from the very beginning. Whether I was up, down, it didn't matter. I think those are the kinds of presidential elections that we have in America.
Hillary speaking to reporters in North Carolina. This is her first day back on the campaign trail after taking a few days off to recover from pneumonia. Donald Trump expanding on his economic policies.
We must replace the present policy of globalism, which have just taken so many jobs out of our communities and so much wealth out of our country, and replace it with a new policy of Americanism.
Speaking at the Economic Club in New York, Trump also blasted companies like Ford for building a new plant in Mexico instead of the U.S. A tense scene in New York City. 2 police officers were attacked responding to a call of a man with a meat cleaver. Both officers are injured. The suspect was shot. No word on any of their conditions at this point. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced. Edward Snowden was no whistleblower, according to a House Intelligence Committee report. It finds the majority of the documents stolen by the NSA leaker were military and defense secrets that had nothing to do with Americans' privacy. Snowden is living in Russia, asking for a presidential pardon. A Samsung smartphone with batteries that can explode or catch fire is officially being recalled. There are 2 choices if you have a Galaxy Note 7.
First option, you can get a replacement phone. The second option, an equal option, is you can get a refund.
Elliot Kay, chairman of the Consumer Product Safety Commission, says the batteries in the Galaxy Note 7s pose serious fire hazards, so anyone who owns one should turn it in. A little-known law concerning Internet posts is being litigated in California.
A woman who wrote a review about an attorney on Yelp was told her post was defamatory and she needed to take it down. The attorney also asked the judge to make Yelp remove the review. Yelp said it would not do that it's not responsible because of a rule called Section 230.
Websites aren't liable for third-party content.
Santa Clara University law professor Eric Goldman notes sites like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube rely on Section 230. The ruling in this case, which was upheld on appeal, simply said holding Yelp in contempt doesn't equal liability.
It's not liability because we are calling it not liability.
The attorney who wants the review removed says the post is defamatory and that's why it needs to be taken down. Both sides are waiting to see if the state Supreme Court hears the case. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The FBI is investigating online threats in connection with the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline. YouTube videos posted by anonymous agents include threats against President Obama, North Dakota's governor, law enforcement, and pipeline workers. There have been some violent protests against the pipeline. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Welcome back to After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olson.
Yeah, you like that?
I know constipation.
I know. I was going to say, "Good morning, Vietnam," but I thought I better not. Probably copyrighted infringement or something if I did.
Well, you'd have to back away from the mic.
I would. It'd have to be like, "Good morning, Vietnam," like that kind of thing, like he used to do.
Very good.
I know. I tried. I used to love that
not
movie.
bad.
I used to love that movie.
Do you know what song comes on after that?
The Bird. Bird's the word. Is that it?
No, James Brown.
It was, wasn't it? Oh my, yes.
I've seen that movie many times, though not for a while.
It's been a little while. Whoa, anyhow, we got a huge show tonight, man.
Massively large. I can't hold it. I got a hernia. All right, tonight we're excavating Western New York's notorious Hinsdale House, recently featured on Nick Groff's Paranormal Lockdown, with owner and paranormal investigator Dan Klaes and veteran investigator and parapersonality, Tim Shaw. All right, so let's get a little history on the Hinsdale House, little brief background. The Dandy family moved into the century-old farmhouse in Hinsdale, New York in the early 70s, thinking they had finally found their dream home. Within days, they began to experience unexplained activity that continued to grow worse as time went on. The family received mysterious phone calls, experienced a variety of poltergeist activity. Sometimes they even heard chanting from the nearby woods. At first, they shrugged it off, but then the Dandy family began seeing full-body apparitions of women in white, bizarre animal-human hybrids, even what they believed could be demonic, non-human entities. Check this weirdness out. One night, the family noticed a group of strange faces peering in at them through their windows. When Mr. Dandy ran outside to chase away the trespassers, the faces reversed and were peering then back at them
No
from the
way.
inside of the house.
Okay, I could handle a lot of things with that. I'd be running from.
I would
hernia. I would pee a little, to be honest with you.
I would soil myself and be gone. So one thing led to another. It was all bad. They had an exorcist named Father Alphonsus, a priest from St. Bonaventure University, came in. Nothing worked. All hell broke loose. They only lived there from July 1973 to October 1974. Skip forward, and one of the Dandy children wrote a book in 2000 about the place. And skip forward again, 2015, and Dan Klaes, he bought the place.
Yeah, I got lots of questions for Dan after hearing all this. All right,
He bought the damn place. And as we know, it was featured on the 5th episode of Paranormal Lockdown, a chilling indeed episode. And both Dan and Tim were on that episode. Welcome to the program, Dan Klaes and Tim Shaw.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. First, I got to ask you, Dan, are you nuts? I mean, I really respect you, I do, and I ask you that as a serious journalist, I guess, of sorts. What compelled you to own this house, knowing the trouble?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a personal experience I had there,
Okay.
As a paranormal investigator. It's just stuck with me, and years later when I knew the house was going for a foreclosure process and it was going to be tore down, something was telling me I needed to step in, and I let my intentions be known from the moment I knew it was in foreclosure, and put a bid down and worked it out and ended up getting to buy the house, and immediately started renovating it because it wasn't going to make it through the winter with the roof that it had on. It was like one of the original roof with the wooden shingles on the top, and it was leaking, and there was black mold in the kitchen. So really had to raise some funds and get that done right away in order to preserve it to where we have it today. It's still ongoing, but we've at least stabilized the house, and it's good right now for people to come in and do some research there.
Could you imagine how Zillow would write that one up? Come by this spacious haunted house. Don't mind the faces looking back at you from windows and the demonic activity, but we find it to be a very warm and lovely environment, not only for you, but your children. I mean, seriously, it would be, I would be scared. I mean, I shouldn't say scared, but I'd be apprehensive. Now, I'm glad you did, because you're saving history, to be honest with you also. I mean, let's also say that. You're also saving history. But the personal experience you had, did that shake you to your core? I mean, were you afraid of the house at all when you first got it? Were you apprehensive?
I was a little freaked out to be there, to know, after seeing the episode of A Haunting that was based on the house and reading Clara's book, but I guess I wanted to see it for myself as an investigator, and that I had that experience there the day that I got there. And so did some members of my team. We each had a different experience. But I had one where I wanted to continue to go back and learn more, and then just try to learn more about the history and find out what's making this place tick, because nobody really had done that. I mean, there's been investigators that have come in, but they haven't really dug into the history of the house, what's going on, So that's my goal at this point, is to get as much as possible.
Now, Mr. Shaw, Tim, a.k.a. Mr. Black Cat Lounge, awesome paranormal investigator, whatever name you want to put on Tim, he'll answer to, basically.
Yes, I will.
How did Tim, how did you get to know this home?
Well, I'm an old dog, and
me too.
Back in the 70s here in Buffalo, New York, in the western New York area, they ran a series of articles about the house. It really, it became sort of really a celebrity location back then. And Clara Miller, actually the dandy, they were still living there at the time. And I am a scrapbooker. I'm a researcher since, oh my God, forever. And I still got all the original articles that I cut out of the paper, local papers. So one day I happened to be going through a book list, and I saw Clara's book, and I ordered it and read it. And from there, I pulled and copied everything in the Father Trabolt's archive at St. Bonaventure University that wasn't sealed by the diocese here in Buffalo, and everything that had to do with the house, and it fascinated me. I decided, I had heard that the last owners, the Mishniks, had died about a year and a half before, and I got permission to go there and actually videograph and turn around and photograph the entire location, because I'm a big believer in mythology. People lose mythology left and right every single day, and we lose all that culture and all that, whether or not it's true or not, but the legends, that's so important to our culture, and that's the way it has always been. So we went out there because we knew that it was going to get bulldozed, and luckily it just kind of limped along until Dan got a hold of it. And Dan has done I have to say right up front, thank you, Dan, for saving that house, because Dan has really done more for that location than anybody that I know.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, because like you said, once the wrecking ball hits it, it's gone. You know what I mean? If he wouldn't have picked it up, it would have been bulldozed, and it would have just been a footnote in history.
Exactly, and I'm big into preservation, and I see so much that disappears across this country. And this was some place that I really felt that was important to the mythology of Western New York, and it didn't disappear. And I first went up there in 2011, and we had massive stuff that went on that night, and I gotta be honest with you. Thank God I was wearing Depends, because I would have soiled myself 10 times over. No, in all honesty, I mean, it was a unique experience, because I had interviewed Clara on my show, I think once or twice, and I had really interviewed a lot of people that had, some that were there during that time period, and I felt I knew the place. I have to tell you, it felt like a sucker house. It felt so warm and comforting, and yet there was something about it that just wasn't right. We were there, I think a friend of mine, Joe Piari, and I were there probably 10 minutes, and each one of us at different times had heard either someone yelling Mama or Anna outside in the drive. And it was just so clear. But I have to say the pinnacle of that night was Joe and another guy was up. They were up in the bedroom, and I was standing on these stairs, and I'm looking down the stairs, and all of a sudden I look, and there's this really pretty young girl, and she's kind of hanging on this old accordion door, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, somebody just must have, strolled up the driveway and is just kind of, looking around, because the front door, of course, had been kicked in by that time, and it was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her, and I blinked my eyes, and she was still there. And then I realized, wow, it's November. It was right around Thanksgiving. It was pretty cold up there. And I realized she didn't have a coat on, and she was just wearing a polyester, blouse, and I could see one of her legs, with bell bottoms and canvas sneakers. But what struck me was her face. Her face was really round. It was moon-shaped, and she had she's just a real pretty, I'd say, younger teenage girl. And something caught my attention, and I looked back down, and she was gone. Now, the back door had been nailed shut. I got down to the bottom of the stairs, went out the front door, and I'll tell you guys right now, fat, bald guys shouldn't be running anywhere.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm right there. I'm part of that brotherhood. Don't worry.
Dude, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
All the leaves were down in the trees on the hillock behind us. She wasn't anywhere to be found. And I mean, I really looked. I was up and down that road, nowhere to be found. And I emailed Clara, and I said, geez, on the off chance, maybe you might have seen this girl there. And it was just a stab in the dark, and she didn't write back to me for about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, crap. I must have offended her some way. Because when you're working with haunted survivors, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
And she wrote back, she goes, you gave me a start. It sounds like my daughter, Laura. And Laura had committed suicide a number of years after they left the house. I was told that she always wanted to come back to the house after this experience when I started asking around. And that was always so poignant to me. And I hadn't seen anything objective, which means through my eyes, in probably 30 years. Mm-hmm. This was the very first time that it was that, whoever it was that clear.
Wow.
And I got validation from her mom.
Yeah. Now, Nick, are you with us, Nick?
Yeah. How's it going,
hey, man. Hey, I recognize Mr. Nick-Groff.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey,
how are you?
Doing good. Just staring at the moon right now. It's a full moon, and I was thinking Hinsdale, and then I heard you guys talking, so I decided to stop by and say hi.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. It's been a while, Nick. I think the last time we talked was we were discussing the last paranormal lockdown episode, and this one's a lot different because it's a smaller location. But Nick, I was interested as I was kind of watching the episode. What made you guys choose the Hinsdale House?
Honestly, we didn't. I always say we didn't choose it. It chose us.
Gotcha. I've heard, now researching this house, talking to people, reading the history on it, it almost, from what I understand, I could be wrong here, this is just me reading, when you show up at location, it's not like you go in, you sit down. No, it kind of meets you right at the gate of the property. Do you guys feel weird feelings right when you get on the place, right? As soon as you step foot is when it begins.
Yeah, it's literally coming up that dirt road is where kind of you get that feeling, that overwhelming feeling. It's been a year, the first time we went there, but right when we went up that dirt road, it's just that overwhelming feeling, and I think it hits people differently, too. Everybody has a different draw to it, a different experience or feeling or, empathic, experience. And for me, I was having these nightmares and just different visions telepathically coming to me in my dreams. It was almost like a forewarning, but I really couldn't figure it out. I just knew the experience I was going through at my own house before I even have ever been to this location when I first went there. And that's kind of what drew me to it, was just that kind of telepathic draw, that energy, that feeling just deep down in your gut that you knew you had to go there for some sort of purpose or reason. And it kind of led me on this path where I met Dan and I met Tim, and great people. And just from there, I guess you could say I've been a little obsessed of the Hinsdale House. It's kind of creepy.
Well, now, Nick, we've known each other a long time. We've done a lot of interviews together. We've talked about a lot of locations. Where would you stack it up against some of the more notable locations you've been to? Would you put it at the top of the list, near the top?
I definitely think it's at one of my top of my list, yeah. And the reason is because there's something so mysterious and interesting about it that I keep discovering new information that I didn't know. And there's something there that wants its story to be told, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. And that I still haven't gotten to the bottom of what You know what I mean? It's almost like you think you know, and you think you think you know who you're communicating with. Then suddenly it takes a twist, and you're like, wait a second, is this something from the woods? Is it from the land? Is it from the house? Is it from like this stopping truck station up the street where they supposedly had, you know, dating back this killer, this legend of this killer? I mean, we're discovering so much new information that's coming kind of true, and it's a little creepy. You know, the more we dig into the Hinsdale, the more we start understanding some of the stories and some of why it possibly is haunted.
Well, I was just about to ask why you guys think it's haunted, because it looks like an unassuming rural home. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like anything, you know, foreboding, like a giant castle sitting there, you know, where it almost looks like you know you're going to have a bad time. It looks like a normal single-family dwelling.
And it's sometimes it's not like, it's not always the locations, and this is what I learned over my years. I always thought it was like the big, huge castles or the massive forts or the huge hotels or whatever with tons and tons of death. It's not always those locations that hit you personally the worst. It's the ones that are very ominous and small, and could be the house next door that you might possibly think you might know what's going on, but, you know, truly until you engage it and live there, that's where the nightmares start. It's the land, and I think it's the history of the land and what stained it and what occurred there back in the days. You know, it dates back to the Puritans and Native Americans, the wars. I mean, you're talking a ton of history.
Well, yeah, there is, and there's been its share of paranormal history as well, and I do know that there has been an exorcism on property. And can you guys talk a little bit about that, how that came, and who was the individual of subject matter to get exorcised in this home?
Dan, you want to take that one?
Yeah. I mean, that was Laura, the daughter that later committed suicide. But they were trying to do an exorcism of the house.
Okay.
The house itself. It wasn't just her. So it was, and it didn't work. You know, they tried twice, and they said that the house was screaming while they were doing this. It was shaking.
Really?
And and it just didn't work. And then his final, what he said to the family was, "You need to leave. You know, well, this isn't going to work. You need to leave this place."
Yeah.
And then ended up moving away. You know.
Now, does it seem like, you know, beyond what Nick was talking about mentally, does it seem like have any three of you ever had anything follow you directly home from this place?
No, I'll be honest with you. I'm spiritualism has been in my family since the 1880s. So for me, it's like it doesn't really bother me. I'm not really afraid of it, and I always have some pretty strong boundaries that I put up while I'm, you know, working on a location. And I've worked some pretty nasty sites over the years, but I have to say that Nick's experience there is not really that uncommon if you're not careful with what you're doing. And I think Nick, because he has young children, and I think that perhaps whatever that is there, whatever that is intelligent, that wants to communicate, really had that draw with him for whatever reason. And I think that's because he is clairsentient right off the bat. You know, the first time I met him up in Michigan, you could feel that coming off of him. And the fact that he did have dreams, these premonitions of this young girl that preceded him coming to the house, I believe that's why whatever it is up there went back with him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree. He nailed it right on the nose, and it is interesting because I've been learning too, and just to answer your question, yes, for me personally, and I didn't understand it at first, you know, I've been to a lot of locations. I had maybe one thing follow me home way back in the day, and it wasn't until the Hinsdale House where it actually increased the activity at my house. We had a couple of things happening, and I had to cleanse, and I really never really do that unless it's that extreme.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get too superstitious or whatnot. I'm pretty logical about things, and I try to figure out myself, and I'm like Tim, I close that door, and I'm spiritually, like, connected with myself, and I'm content, you know, and I know my life and how positive my mentality is, but sometimes I think in life you lose focus of that. There's just being a human being, and that's kind of how I was in that moment where I was so derivative on trying to discover what this is and what's going on, and it kind of latched onto me, and I lost focus, I think. And it just kind of overtook my dreams, and I let it control me, and then it started invading my house, and then a little bit too late, I let that door, that crack just open just enough where it just invaded my house, and it became so active. And I started realizing that too with, having kids and whatnot. Certain things were happening revolving around certain nights, and certain things, like my daughter would wake up and she'd be having a nightmare, and then downstairs there would be activity in my basement, like walking around and this and that. It's such a weird coincidence how things are playing out in my life right now. So that's what I'm trying to understand, and that's what I've been trying to go full blast on right now, to try to dig up more information. And my cousin Justin and we have been obsessively just diving into the research with Dan on the Hinsdale House. And even Dan, you said too that you captured voices saying, "Where's Nick?" at the Hinsdale House when I wasn't even there.
More than once. Yeah, I mean, after Nick did the cleansing, they've asked for him many times on a Geo box and EVPs and audible voices asking for Nick. It was really crazy.
And how does that make you feel, Nick?
I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like swimming. You jump in, you don't know how to swim, and you start drowning, and you're like, wait a second, I need to get air. It's kind of the same, I guess, analogy is the one way to put it. It's like I'm trying to come up from air, because it's overwhelming at times, and then for me, it's exciting, but then it's scary. And then it's because it's new experience, It's like something you haven't gone through, and you have to test the water a little bit until you get better at it. It's very bizarre. I can't wait I'm going to show some of this stuff very soon. You might see it as our Halloween special coming up, and I know we'll talk soon about it. But it's crazy, some of the stuff that I have from footage I've just been filming constantly, and I can't wait to show everybody.
Yeah,
Nick, what really struck me is when you were at the Ohio State Reformatory in the spring, and you gave your talk, but when you came around to the Hinsdale House, I mean, your whole tone changed, your whole mood changed, and it's kind of what you just said. You were both, you could tell, you were daunted by it, but you were also really intrigued and fascinated by it. It's like you were being pulled and pushed at the same time. But I noticed, I was looking around at the crowd and everything as you were talking, and people were really noticing how affected you were by this place.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I always say it has a piece of me. It's like you walk into a location, and we all produce energy and kinetic energy and our aura that surrounds us, and spiritually, whatever way you want to think about it. But I think walking into that location, it definitely took a piece of me. It's that my lingering aura that now where I'm connected, I'm like one with it. I don't know. You can talk to tons of people who have been there, and Dan will tell you, and Tim will tell you. It just has some sort of draw, and it's like a connected thing, and some people, I think, interact with it differently. I think there's multiple things happening there. I don't think it's just one thing. I think there's this kind of really hard draw to this room upstairs in the Hinsdale, but I also think it has to do with the land. It has to do with other things. I do think there's spirits there too, but I think there's something else. I just don't fully understand what it is yet.
Yeah, it almost listen to all of you guys talk. It almost draws you in, and it almost has I suppose, in some ways, an addictive effect too.
Oh, it does. Yeah, but let's tell you guys, I have gone and I've interviewed a lot of people that have gone up there to investigate, have gone up there as just tourists wanting to see the place, and I would say probably 75% of them, for whatever reason, they all say the same thing. There's something about that place that keeps bringing us back. I don't know what it is. Now, I'm going to come right out and admit something that I really don't admit to a lot of people.
Well, it's just you and me talking. Don't worry about it, man.
I mean, seriously. I mean, I've been to, I don't know, I can't even tell you how many places, big public places, going all the way down to individual homes and historic locations, slept on battlefields, slept in cemeteries. And I got to tell you that the Hinsdale House, and I'm not doing it to promote it. I'm saying this because I feel this way. There's a draw. There's something about that area that pulls me there, pulls me back, and I feel as if almost it's in my DNA. I feel like it's instinctual for me to want to go back up there, and a lot of people feel that same way.
Well, Tim, do you have a fear that could be all-consuming if you let it? I mean, where that becomes so preoccupying to you that nothing else matters?
Let's face it, talking with Johnny Zaffis about a year ago, we were talking about all the stages of temporal possession, because I had written a book about that a couple of years ago. And what I have found now is obsession is now one of the first stages of a temporal possession. People, especially paranormal investigators, who sometimes are not as serious as they should be, but they start getting the thrill. And it's almost it's like working with a Ouija board and the Zozo phenomena, or working with recorders. All of a sudden, wow, you get suckered in, and then all of a sudden it's too late.
You need to give it the respect it deserves and understand this is a dangerous
and use your common sense and understand that we have free will. And as people, we can say enough is enough, where, a lot of people don't understand that concept. We're there to be able to say, okay, I'm done. Yeah, I can get pulled there. Yeah, I can work there, research, whatever. But when I get down to the bottom of that hill, you're behind me, everything else is behind me. I cut everything off. And obsession is probably the biggest problem that the Hinsdale might have.
Wow. We got to run a break. We're actually late. Hard break coming up. We got to go. We can come back. More haunting of the Hinsdale House. Don't go anywhere. Be right back right after this. Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Hi, I'm Kip Parker. And I'm Charlie Parker. And we're the Parker Brothers. Hey, Charlie, what's missing from our game catalog? I don't know, Kip. Tell me. Well, you can't talk to the dead. You sure as hell can. That's why we got this brand new game called Ouija. Ouija? What? Break that down for me. Well, it's Wii because you're having a great time, and G, it's because G, aren't you having a blast because you're having a good time with the Wii. It looks like it smelled like a Chinaman got caught in there. Don't question it. Well, Ouija, Kip, tell me about it. Well, inside the package comes a flat board with all the letters of the alphabet, numbers from 0 to 9, and a yes-no written out by itself. Well, that sounds like a lot of stuff going on. That's got a lot of stuff going on indeed, Charlie. It also comes with this planchette which hovers over the letters the dead are trying to tell you. Well, how does that work, Chip? Well, you ask the question, and then the dead move your hands in the direction of the answers. That sounds like a heck of a way to find Grandpa's slave money. Turns out it was in the attic. But the questions don't have to be as serious as slavery. You can also find out if Sally's got a crush on you. The dead like to answer all sorts of trivial questions. Feels like they'd have better things to do with their time, Kip. No, lost souls are lost forever, and they're really glad to help. Well, gee, Kip, can't you just get any sort of board with numbers and letters and talk to the dead? The dead prefer quality like anybody else. Quality you can only find at Parker & Parker.
The Ouija board, brought to you by the Parker Brothers, available in both white and colored wallworks. Separate but equal savings.
Do Do you have a question for our guest tonight? Don't feel like calling the show? Not a problem. Email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Again, that's afterhoursam@gmail.com. Welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joe Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olson.
Hey, Eric, man, great stuff. The Hinsdale House is a creepy joint.
Dark and spooky and creepy.
It's a creepy joint, and we're talking to three of the premier investigators of the Hinsdale House.
What a gathering.
I know.
I would say without doubt, they are the three premier investigators of the Hinsdale House. What I wanted to ask was, we've kind of talked around it, but I think it'd be great, especially for if there happens to be anyone out there, for example, who didn't see the Paranormal Lockdown episode. It'd be great to know collectively, the three of you, just give us a little bit of the actual history in terms of predating the Dandies. I mean, what are your thoughts on just anything specific and concrete and historical of where such crazy activity could be coming from?
Well, it just because why I have no life, I know these things. We go back to 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. We're talking about a hunter-gatherer society, and that area was rich in what they would call temporal hunting camps. And you have to understand that primitive man left his mark on everywhere he went. And as a spiritualist and as someone who understands energy work, we know that man has left an imprint on this earth anywhere he's been. So there may be something that's left over from that Neolithic time, that stone tool making time, that it has affected it. Now we do know that there are Neolithic and early Native American graves that predate the Iroquois Confederacy, 1400. So we're going back quite a ways. And we do know that they are bordering on that property. And if we start looking at it in that aspect, in an energetic aspect, there is a lot of imprint there. We can toss in maybe, and a lot of people laugh at me, but when I start talking about elementals and the natural energies that may be being produced in those areas, it's amazing. Now, the one thing, and I'll let Dan talk, the one thing I just want to add is back in the 80s, I believe, a dowsing group went out there and doused that land, and they found 2 negative ley lines that crossed in the living room. Now, could that be something that adds into the energy? When I go out and I work a negative case, I'm looking for the battery. I want to short circuit this thing. I want to be able to go and try to lessen the energy and the activity there by unplugging that battery. So Could it be that? It could be. So there's a lot of energy that's out there. And Dan, you can bring us in, to more modern times.
Yeah, I mean, just in the research that I've done, I mean, I've dated the house back to 1870 with the Lefevre family. We have, and I'm trying to find solid evidence. So when I bring a team into the house or I bring a group into the house, I want to be able to show them this is what happened. Here's a newspaper article, or here is something that actually happened. It's not a story. The little boy that was killed by a buzzsaw in the backyard by the barn, the Hinsdale House hanging tree that was on the property up in the right corner where the dirt road starts that Nick talks about, that was eventually hit by lightning and saw its demise. I mean, there's stories that we can attach to the things that are at the house. And I think that when you are able to touch on these stories while you're there, it allows these teams and different investigators that come to the house from all over the world better chances of catching something. So, I mean, it's just, it's just diving in. I mean, Nick and Justin have been awesome, the past year, just diving in and really trying to dig in and put this story together and help with this puzzle. And, we're coming up with new things all the time, and I'm excited, really excited to be able to tell the story at some point.
Well, one of my favorite lockdown quotes from the show is, "The forest is extremely haunted." I'm not going to pitch a tent there, that's for sure. Nick, is the forest really that off the wall where you wouldn't stay a couple nights in the old Eureka tent? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, by myself, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably get eaten by coyotes before that happens.
Well, that is true.
Or beamed up in a ship to some other planet.
Wow.
It's had a lot of paranormal phenomena, the whole entire land. It's we're talking a lot about ghosts and spirits and whatnot, but actually, to touch on what Tim was talking about, absolutely right. I believe that there's something more powerful there that we don't fully understand yet, like getting into elementals and energy.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in energy.
Well, okay, now
I think,
let's back up for just a quick second for a lot of our listeners, and there is a bit of a debate. What exactly, in your opinion, both of you, is an elemental?
Go ahead, Tim.
Well, for me, an elemental is in the classical sense, it is almost an intelligent being that is associated with the land. To me, elementals are more of naturally occurring energy that can be, well, the best way I can describe it is energy is neither positive or negative. I believe it has to be influenced by the spirit realm or the physical realm, and I believe that out there, for whatever reason, that energy has been influenced by its human inhabitants, and I do believe that there may be a curse, there might be something else that goes along with it, because traditionally in the tribal system that I've worked with up here with the Native Americans, if a grave is disturbed, that means the spirit will wander forever. I believe out there in that area there were ossuaries and burial mounds, and I believe that when they were clearing the land, I do believe that these were disturbed, thus that this naturally occurring energy may be feeding into this wandering spirit that may be affecting the area. So to me, that's what an elemental is. It's just energy that can take on an intelligent form.
Now, do you think that these ley lines that were discussed earlier have a lot to do with the haunting? I mean, you know,
I have no doubt in my mind, because when the Mishniks were alive, where the two negative ley lines cross, and you can still see the scratches from Mrs. Mishnik's rocker. They crossed directly underneath that rocker, where that location was. And Mrs. Mishnik was very, very sick for a while. And from the stories that the Dowsers told me, is when they moved her chair, she started to get a little bit better. She wasn't going into like respiratory failure, and she wasn't getting sick. So I believe that has a lot to do with it.
So there could be something along the lines of ley line sickness. It sounds like that. It's like
absolutely. People that I've corresponded with in overseas and in England, they firmly believe that many of these ley lines have some kind of energetic power in order to go and produce different effects with different people. Of course, I mean, we all know with ley lines, if you go to Europe, you start seeing churches that are directly on ley lines. And why is that? I mean, these churches were built over pagan sites, and these pagan sites were there because they were sacred sites and energetic sites.
Now, do we as a people, in your opinion, Tim, do we seek these ley lines out instinctually, or is it just a happy or a sad happenstance?
No, I believe that we are instinctive. I believe that when we were in the hunter-gatherer stage of our existence, we needed this boost in order to survive. Thus, we were looking for these energetic areas in order to go and be able to have that one little upmanship on the other tribes to get water and shelter and where the herds were. And I believe these energy lines were sacred places where they would go and they would commune with ancestors or get in touch with their own sixth sense.
Okay.
So I believe that it's instinctual in each one of us to be able to do that.
Okay, I mean, very interesting. I've heard some theories about ley lines, but you definitely described it better than any other theory I've heard in a very, very long time. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you really, I'm a blue collar guy just like you are, man. Give it to me the way it is. But, exactly. So I've heard that ley line sickness before the past. I had a great conversation one time, long time back, with a good friend of mine that happens to be a scientist. And he because he's a believer in the ley lines now, he believes that it is akin to almost radiation sickness in some ways.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And if you go, and I was talking to John Tenney about this, if you start going and looking where there is alleged portals or anything of that nature, you're starting to see, I would say, increases in gamma radiation. And so I believe that these naturally occurring areas produce something of that nature. And I believe it's scientific fact. I mean, spiritualism taught me one thing, and one thing only, that sometimes belief is correct, and science just hasn't caught up with it yet.
Ah, very true. Now, staying with these ley lines, is there a possibility then, being that they have some type of attraction, have this power, that they hold ghosts, spirits, other things almost to a place because of that energy?
I don't believe it holds intelligent entities, because I believe, in my own experience and in my religion, I believe it's something that these spirits can be in visitation. They just come and go. If they're landlocked, it's because they're self-landlocked, not because they're cursed and put there. But I do believe that the echoes of history can be repeated like a DVD or a recording because of some of this energy. And I do believe that if you do have something that may be intelligent, whether it's good or bad, the energy that is produced within that location or any location like it can feed into it, and it acts as if a battery. When you start working seance, you have someone that works as a battery in a traditional seance. Sure. When you start working with mediums will always go and try to raise the energy, the energetic vibrational field of whoever, if it's one reading or a gallery reading. They'll do that because they're raising that energy. And I believe that these locations are naturally, they produce it naturally. Because how many times have you heard about hauntings where you can't get intelligence and you can't get anything residual, yet you're getting drawers that are opening and windows cracking and this and that? Sure. A lot of it is just kinetic, psychokinetic energy. It's just naturally occurring, and that's what I believe a lot of these locations are.
Well, for everyone that's just tuning in, I don't know anyone that is just tuning in, because quite honestly, it's a great show and you should have been listening to all the time. We're talking to three of the top paranormal investigators in the world right now, and of course that's Mr. Nick Groff. And then, of course, we have Mr. Tim Shaw, and then Dan Klaes. That's right, Klaes. He's a classy guy. Dan, any chance you're going to renovate it and turn it into a rental and let the experiment begin?
That's basically what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm not going to rent it out for one person, but we're renovating it and renting it as a kind of like a paranormal bed and breakfast right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking you'll let a family move in and let the hijinks begin.
Oh, heck no.
Oh, okay. I didn't think so. But I think that would be a great training ground and experimental ground for people that know what they're doing. I don't really, from what you guys are saying, this is not for your amateur on the weekend, let's go to the cemetery, snap a few pictures, paranormal investigator. This is for someone that's a sound body and mind and can go into a place that is so steeped with paranormal activity, it's almost borderline dangerous. So what would the criteria be to come in and rent the house for a night? Is there a vetting system?
Yeah, no, I mean, I basically just ask questions to the people that are inquiring about renting it. What type of experience they have, how long they've been investigating for, what type of equipment they use. And based on that, I will allow them to stay the night, depending on how much experience they have. If they haven't had any experience, I usually gear them towards something like Tim Shaw, when he's going to be there at the end of October doing a tour, to buy a ticket and come and see how it's done and listen to him talk and kind of take them under their wings, as opposed to just having them there and having at it. Here you go, have at it, see you later type thing. We also have seasoned investigators that come in and will help run tours. Because, just like they said, having, it kind of draws you in and it takes over. So what I've done is I don't even go there that much. I probably go a couple times a month. Mm-hmm. And if we're working on a project or something, I'll go down there. But I try to keep my distance from it and I just kind of make the decisions from where I live in Buffalo on what we need to do, and then I'll send such person down to fix this, or let's have this person go down and do this, let's have this person run this tour. And I have a pretty big team of people that will help, like Amy Perry Lane, Proof Paranormal from Bradford, Pennsylvania, and I have Louise from Buffalo, and we all just kind of work together, Michelle, my house manager, and making sure that we get these tours done and really get the word out there about the place, because the more people know about it, the more we can get it and keep it for future paranormal investigating, future research,
Yeah, something I was thinking of while you're talking is what how does the community view the house? I mean, what would they like to, the people that live in the area, what do they think of the place?
They, I've had to reach out to a couple of them because they're mad. Some of them got mad at me because of the frequent, it's a quiet rural area, so to have that type of traffic up there sometimes made them mad. So, I mean, I try to be a good neighbor.
Sure.
And I've reached out to them, whatever I can do to, we kind of corral the people, and we put up signs on the road now, so when people are coming down, they don't wander up the hill onto the private road and bug the neighbors up there. And it's really kind of a peaceful thing now. I got the ones that were yelling at me when I first bought it, fishing in my pond. They come down to fish in the pond, and they've embraced it now. And I've actually done a day of caring there. Just had brought in people and just to see what would happen to try to help. I had like 57 people show up from the community to help paint and put in new screens and help with windows, and it was just an amazing outpouring. They've really embraced it.
Well,
and
Dan,
to help. So.
With the people that are still angry, just send Nick to their house. Nick will go over there and be all suave and be like, "What's up, baby? Hey, don't worry about it."
Yeah, Tim Shaw and I will show up.
Yeah, that's right. You just go, kind of, just flip on the old charm there, Nick. Everything will be just fine. No, but on a serious note, now, Nick, like you'd said, and Tim, you're no slouch. You've only written, how many books now? I mean, you got neither one of you guys are not what I'd call amateur investigators by any stretch of the imagination. Is there any danger in this house? I mean, physical danger that someone should really look out for from the other world? I mean, we've all heard about attacks that have happened in places such as this place, but other locations. Is that a real danger here?
I'll be honest with you. I've only been scratched up there once when I was up there. I don't really feel physically that there's going to be a lot, but I will say that psychologically, I think it can, if you're not prepared for it, it may give you nightmares. It might make you not want to go and sleep in the dark for a while, because sometimes, I mean, the shadows run long there. I mean. If you look up on the Greater Western New York Paranormal Society's, one of their past shows about the Hinsdale House, I was up there with another psychic, and I just looked up. We're being interviewed. I looked up, and there's a shadow person walking in there. Or the day that we actually went and we filmed, Nick and Katrina are way out in the road. I look over, and there's a shadow person in the middle of the day walking in the living room.
Jeez.
Yep. His face was dropped.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not prepared for this can really kind of just bring up a lot of primal fear.
Sure.
And you have to be careful about that. And I think it's the fear itself that psychologically that can do more harm than anything else.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. Yeah. I mean, this was a location I walked into just from that draw, but it hit me with the force. Tim labeled it best when we were interviewing Tim during Paranormal Lockdown. He said, it's like a sucker punch. It'll hit you when you least expect it. And it definitely did to me. It did, and it latched on, and it still kind of, lingers with me off and on. I'm really good about trying to shake it, but there's something about it that you just can't. Once you step in, and you connect with it in that certain way, and it knows you, and you know it has you. It's that force. It's so powerful at that location that I've never walked through a location where it's become such a strong pull to it. And I think that's what this location keeps drawing me back, and I'm obsessive about it, and then I'll stop thinking about it, and then suddenly I'll be talking in a sentence to somebody else about it. I'm like, why am I still talking about this? I don't want to talk about this. It's just one of those locations,
Yeah, just kind of grabs you and doesn't let you go location. And it
and
gets
I was stabbed in there. I mean, I was literally stabbed by some unseen force right in the hand. I was standing there, and Katrina's like, when we were investigating paranormal lockdown, she's like, do you feel this electricity? And I walk in the room, I'm like, oh my God, I pull my hands in the air, and you could feel the static electricity charge in the air, and I literally felt a hot needle just like jam right into between my my two knuckles.
Doesn't sound like fun at all. Does not sound like an enjoyable time to me at all. To be
getting pushed, stabbed, and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's the fun of paranormal investigation.
Yeah, well, you got to take the good and the bad. We got 5 minutes left, and of course, we have 3 really outstanding guests. So each one of you, go ahead and plug what you guys got going on, and then tell us all about stuff where people can find you.
Nick, go ahead, because you are, after all, the fantastic Nick with the greatest hair in the world.
Thanks, Ed. Just Paranormal Lockdown. We're shooting season 2 right now. I know we're going to be talking a ton about it very soon. I literally have had like 2 days home because we've been on the road nonstop. We're shooting season 2, and our Paranormal Lockdown Halloween special, it airs October 31st, Halloween night, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern, and definitely don't want to miss that. You'll see some of Hinsdale in it, and we'll talk more about it soon.
Cool, man. Cannot wait. And
for the Hinsdale House, itself, we're going to be participating in National Ghost Hunting Day on October 1st. I'm going to be at Scarefest doing a panel with Brian Cano and kind of headlining there. And then we have Mike and Brian from the Demon Files running a ghost tour at the house that's sold out. And throughout the whole month of October, we have great people like South Jersey Ghost Research are going to be doing a tour there. Jeffrey Scott Lepper, he's going to be doing a tour. Sean Austin's going to be doing a tour. And, of course, Reverend Tim Shaw at the end of October. But if anybody wants to go to any of those, you can go to the Hinsdale House on Facebook or on hauntedhinsdalehouse.com and just check out the events section at society.com and purchase the tickets to help support the house.
Cool. Absolutely awesome.
And for me, I'm going to be panhandling on Main and Broadway, trying to get money.
Use a tin cup this time, Tim. Don't use paper.
But I'm going to be up at the Hinsdale House, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be a fantastic night. Also, you can go to my website, which is SeanThomasProductions.com. We are producing I'm actually producing a webisode called web series called Curiosity, where we go and we've interviewed Dan, of course, for the whys and hows and what are you crazy for what they do. I mean, we've done everything from the Trundle Manor, which is Rockabilly meets the Addams Family, to Dan, to a witch, and just interesting people like that. But I'll be down, I believe, in mid-October. I'll have the date up on the website. I'll be talking about I'll be talking about Ouija boards and I'll be using a Ouija board up at the Hinsdale when I'm up there. But I'll be talking about Ouija boards, the correct way to use them, the history, and I'm going to showcase for the first time like my 17 or 18 Ouija boards that I've got unstuffed underneath my guest bed.
Sounds cool. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. And on behalf of myself, Joel Sturgis, of course, my host, my awesome co-host, Eric Olson, we thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM. Take care of each other, love each other, and remember, Halloween's coming, and I like candy, so don't be afraid to ship some to the station. I'm just saying. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter.